So nobody wants to start their day walking through the doors of a busy London hospital, except of course if you're an excited junior doctor and it's your very first day at work. And in 2013, this was me, and I was finally starting my very first shift as a doctor. I made my way up to the wards and my team met me and promptly handed me a list of patients, a list of jobs, and then they left. They went off to clinics and to do other things. And I realised that I was on my own. And that nervous excitement quickly turned to terror. What was I going to do? How was I going to do it? Which patient would I see first? And what would happen if I didn't know what to do? I walked up to the first ward and was met with an onslaught of questions and jobs. Was Mrs. Smith okay to go home today? Maybe, did Mr. Jones antibiotics? Does his prescription look all right? And did I know that Mr. Smith was hiding some brandy in that cola bottle beside his bed? There was prescriptions to be signed, there was x-rays to be checked and letters to be written. And then my pager went off and kept going and added more and more jobs to the list. I looked at my watch and it was 8:30 a.m. and I was beginning to think that maybe Mr. Jones had the right idea. And so I got to work as best I could, working through, and I wondered, would I ever get to the bottom of this list? And hopefully, was I doing a good job? And then I came to Mrs. Davis. And Mrs. Davis was a lovely lady in her mid-80s, and she was sitting beside her bed, and she was elegant and sat in a buttoned-up cardigan. She had a lovely necklace with pearls and big sparkly earrings. She had been admitted because she had a chest infection. And so we chatted a little bit as I did my job, but really I was trying to get through things as quick as I could. Beside her bed was a framed picture of black and white of a dancer with a feathered headdress, but I didn't have time to talk about that. She had been admitted because of her chest infection, and we weren't sure why she wasn't responding to antibiotics. And as a result, she had been sent for a number of tests and investigations, but we still didn't really know what was going on. I was just there to check that she was stable. So I listened to her chest and I checked her vital signs and everything seemed okay, so I went to rush out the door and get to my next job. As I put my handle on the door though, she called me back and she looked me in the eye and she said, "Doctor, why am I not getting better?" And for me, this was really scary. When I was a doctor, when I was a medical student, all my exams, they had a right or a wrong answer. Everything was black and white, but here I was standing in front of a patient and not knowing what to do. I'd been facing little uncertainties all throughout the day, but here was one staring me right in the face. How would she react if I said I didn't know? Would she think I was a bad doctor? Would she be upset? Would she be nervous? Maybe I could just tell her I was really busy and hope somebody else would talk to her later on in the day. But I decided I would give it a try. And I sat down and I had a chat with her and I explained that we didn't really know what was going on. I was really nervous and I was babbling and talking fast. She could probably tell I was nervous. And she listened intently to what I was saying, and then she sat in silence. But instead of giving out to me or crying or being upset, she thanked me. And she said it was okay, it was all right that we didn't know what was going on. She was just happy that I had spoken to her. And I think she could tell that I was nervous, so she sat me down for a story or two. And it turns out that the picture beside the bed was of her. She used to be a dancer in America, and she'd even danced with Fred Astaire. And she had such amazing stories. I could have stayed there all day until my pager went off again. It was the best 5 minutes of my day. And uncertainty, like the rest of life, pervades everything that we do. And you've all been dealing with uncertainty in this talk. You probably were wondering why this picture is here. Had I made a mistake? And mostly in our lives, we just get on with uncertainties. But this uncertain world can affect medical students and doctors and how they act, and it can affect their patients. So with my research, what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to study uncertainty with students at the University of Otago. How do they perceive it? How do they respond to it? And then by doing that, I'm going to use what I've learned to develop a tool to help junior doctors and medical students deal with uncertainty in their lives and hopefully be confident to face it rather than fearful. And I suppose in those few minutes that I spent with Mrs. Davis on the ward, it was something cropped up that came up again and again in my time as a doctor, and that was, we're not going to be able to stop uncertainty. It's going to be something that pervades everything that we do, but we can control how we respond to it, and hopefully we'll hear a good story along the way. Thank you.